Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to go through all of the upcoming tower floors, what you're going to need to know for each floor, things you may want to keep in your mind as you are going up. So let's go ahead and dig in. Starting on the 81st floor, you are going to want to bring ice units, and if like as a trend, tower tends to have floors that specialize in units that have been released. So when we're looking at this floor, a unit that's going to be very powerful is going to be snow. There's going to be striking weakness across the board for the wind units. Despite the fact that we've had Eliza, despite the fact that we've had Alaya, this really isn't going to be a ice missile weakness floor. So you're going to want to focus in a little bit more on magic, striking, pierce a little bit, and even slashing too. Just kind of getting a little bit of everything. Definitely avoid missile, though. I could see you falling for that trap relatively easily. Glaciella doesn't have anything too remarkable when we're looking through the floors and figuring out, what's going to be strong and what you want to take. I always look at the other category here, and the reason I do that is because there is usually kind of a warning on what a unit is going to do based off of the buffs that are here. So as we scroll down here, you'll notice there's not much except for a bunch of wind penetration and defense penetration. So you'll definitely want to bring, say, Velis to this map because there's going to be a lot of damage here. Whereas on other floors, you would see a lot more like charm plus 50, in which case you would know that it's going to be almost impossible to dodge charm. You will want to bring confusion resistance on this map. You don't need to worry about bringing enhanced confusion resistance, just because they have only the 25% standard chance to land it, but that is going to come from the thieves. Rune knights are going to be damaged, snakes are going to be damaged per usual, lowering your defense. You will start to see a couple of mini dragons. The only real status ailment you should probably worry about if you are bringing Velis or any other ice mage, especially Rosa, since you'll probably want to heal her, is going to be the silence from the mini dragon. That is going to be probably the most dangerous here. Otherwise, it's going to be smash and grab. Just take them all out nice and slow, and the 81st floor should go relatively quickly. Transitioning to the 82nd floor, first thing you're going to notice on this floor is that you are split up. So you do have a party up over here, and you do have a party down here. And so make sure you're setting up that initial deployment. One of the other things you're going to want to do as well, this lower right hand party here is going to be an immediate danger to the ninjas that are on your left side. That's going to be E8, E9, and E10. You're probably going to want to move up and over here, even though it's going to be closer to some of these other enemies over here. Those ninjas are going to be moving quickly and they will be stopping you, right? When we think about ninjas, you look at potential for Shadowbind, which not only decreases movement now, but also lands stop. These ninjas do have an enhanced chance to land stop on you. So you do want to be aware of that. You either want to deal with them really quickly, or you want to run away from them and kind of prolong your exposure to them. I would say that's probably the highest chance of fail state in this map. This map, you definitely want to bring fire units since they are all ice. If it were me and I was approaching this map, I would definitely throw Satya down here. I think that's going to be the go-to most powerful option that you have. You might even consider putting like Lilith down there to land like a sharpshoot or some other attack on these ninjas, just to make sure that you can deal with them. They are nicely clustered here, so you will potentially be able to wipe them out in a single hit. You are going to run into a lot of ice magic here as well. Again, these are going to be weak to slash, so Medina, Sweetheart Sleer, just be aware of that. Medina is going to have access to Toad, and while there is not an enhanced Toad rate, there is a 50% chance that she will land Toad, and there's other black mages with Toad that have an enhanced rate to land Toads. So once you quickly handle the ninjas, your top priority should be the black mages. There's a variety of other units that are specifically Strider and Curry. Curry is just going to deal small amounts of damage to you. You don't need to worry about him. You would think Curry would be applying Frostbite, but he actually doesn't have that ability in his kit. You do want to focus the Striders as Frostbite, probably your third priority, and then you can kind of focus on Salir and some of the other units that are kind of left over. So the priority on this map, definitely the ninjas first. Then you're going to want to take out the black mages and go from there. And thankfully, Medina is going to be over here. And then it does look like we are going to have one of the Striders over there with her. So you are going to have kind of Medina out of the work. So if you can take out these ninjas really quickly, you can just blast these guys over here as Medina is trying to make her way kind of into the team. So your whole team could probably just move to the right side, clear out the right side, or kill the ninjas as well, and then clean out the enemies as they do kind of chase you down. Taking a look at floor 83. Now, floor 83 is the real pain in the ass floor where you don't have a center area and your units are all spread along the outskirts. You're going to be spawning in the northwest corner, which has a variety of different range height, which can be useful depending on the situation. However, unlike most situations where you might be able to protect yourself from attacks because of your range height, this map is not going to be that generous. You are going to need to go on the offensive on this map. You can't buff up. You're going to need to almost immediately take action or move your characters away from specific targets. You do have Dark Fina on the map. This is going to be a dark element map, so you will want to bring light element units. Lucio is going to be really good here. A variety of slash, pierce, and striking is going to be very powerful. Fina is not the threat, and neither are the Tonberries. What you really need to worry about is going to be the Gill Snappers with, of course, enhanced immobilize, so they will land that immobilize no matter what. And then you have a variety of bandits that are going to be kind of plinking you from the range, along with calculators that are going to be healing and supporting. So while they are kind of taking you down, dealing damage, kind of dealing pain, you're going to have to kind of be dealing with the forces. Now, E1 is going to be Dark Fina. That's going to be right here. So I would ignore her for the first turn. You have E2 and E3, which are going to be near her. So that's going to be the two Tomberries. Take those out, but don't let them be the wall to Dark Fina. So Dark Fina does have a stop ability. It's not the end of the world. It's only a 25% chance to activate, and she doesn't have enhanced stop rate in this. So you could deal with it that way. Just make sure you have some stop resistance and you'll probably be able to get through this relatively fine. A good note here, since you can see the resistances on this page as well, Dark Fina is going to be susceptible to stun. Not everybody is going to be susceptible to stun. It is mostly going to be just her, but that's enough to kind of give you that advantage, particularly if you are wanting to use your light units on a later floor. Taking a look at floor 84, this is going to be the light element floor. This floor is pretty interesting. We're gonna get Starlight Elena here. Starlight Elena gonna have a lot of what you would expect from her, but she's not going to actually be the main threat. You're going to have a variety of threats that are kind of all equal levels. So you have Mario, you have Fina, you have healing, you have support. Fina does not have the ability to charm, thankfully, although we do run into a unit that can charm pretty wildly later on. You are going to be able to potentially confuse or paralyze Fina. You'll notice that confusion and paralyze does not translate to Elena. It does not translate to Mario as well. But coming through here, you will have to deal with carbuncles. So they don't have increased confusion. So you just need to put standard confusion resistance on your team and reflect. The thing here, though, is that you're probably not going to be bringing a ton of magic units anyway, so it might be your initial reaction to bring like Dark Fina or, you know, Halloween Lucia, right? but this is really going to be much more of like a Joker floor. You could be really successful with Little Leela. You're going to be leaning into like that dark. If you have Kane is going to be really good here. You do want to watch out for the Time Mages. They do have an enhanced chance to land slow. So that can happen. They can land stop, but I mean, it'll probably be one or the other. You just want to kill the Time Mages really quickly, and you want to kill the Thieves really quickly, because the Thieves do have access to Charm. So that does mean they are probably going to charm you like mad. So the Thieves are going to be E9 and E8. So let's go take a look at where they're at relative to the position here. So E9 is going to be right over here on the left side. E8 is going to be over here on the left side. So you can probably take care of them immediately. You could either move to the right, kind of bait them forward and then kill them, or you can aggressively move to the left and kill them immediately. That's probably the highest threat, I would imagine. There is a white mage here that you'll want to take out, which is fine. But that would be my priority if I were you on this floor. And once you take out the charm, like even if you get stopped from the Time Mages, like assuming you have to deal with it still, you'll probably be able to push your way through. Time Mage is also weak to Paralyze, for anyone that's wondering here. So you can utilize Paralyze quite a bit. I don't really find Paralyze to be the most useful thing in the world, but it's there if you are maybe like desperately trying to clear. Floor 85. 85 is always going to be like whenever you hit the midway mark, whether it's 85 or 90, these floors are always a little bit more difficult. They're usually multi-element. So this floor is going to be dark. There's also going to be some lightning element units. You will want to lean in on mostly light, maybe a little bit of earth as well, but you're gonna be you're gonna be killing the lightning units relatively quickly in terms of the ones that are in melee range. So you're kind of gonna kill the 2 melee range lightning units fast, and then you're gonna be engaging with the dark units. This is going to be one of those maps where you're going to really benefit from really high range height, because you're going to have Liarte up here at E6 at the height of the map. You do really good to bring like Lilith and put her right here, like Bikini Lilith, or another ranged earth unit that has really good range, because Liarte is literally the threat on this map. She has increased chance to apply charm, poison, and immobilize by 50. So she is going to be an absolute status ailment monster. She's weak to slash, but her resistances are really not that high. She only has 7,500 HP here. So you really just want to, like, if there's one thing to do, it's to make sure that you have a method to take out Liarte, because that status ailment is going to be really bad for you if she does land it. Now, we are going to get Titus up in the front. Titus does have a chance to apply stun and paralyze enhancement. So you may want to almost just kind of like blitzkrieg style the front here. So the E9 and the E10 are going to be the corals as well, who do have a chance to paralyze and silence. So you don't need to worry too much about paralyze and silence if you can kill this dominant, like this center area. If it were me, I would take the center aggressively, and then I would find a way to position a unit here that can kill Liarte, or have a unit that can run up these stairs and hit Liarte as well, because it's going to be a mess. Like if you are unable to kill these, what's going to happen is you're just going to get paralyzed, you're going to get silenced, you're going to get stunned, and then Liarte is going to start charming and confusing and just like tearing apart your team piece by piece. The rest of the enemies don't have anything too remarkable. Don't take evasion into this map. So Ruinstern is here in E1 and right over here, and he freaking has like accuracy plus 250. So that is not going to save you at all. So don't even worry about that. You're gonna have Alim and O. They're going to have, Alim doesn't really have anything, O doesn't really have anything except for some small status ailments, but you'll want to take them out. We have some skeletons, that's going to be E7 and E8, but they're relatively far away. So they're up over here with Ruinstern. They're not going to have ranged attacks. You're not going to have to worry too much about them. You're just going to want to focus on the center here. Control the center, focus Liarte, and then kill Ruinstern is probably going to be the best route. You may want to stick a tank over here to kind of tank the left side. This might even be a good situation for like a regular Mont If you just had regular Montan here and you ran him over here to hold this area while the rest of your team kind of dealt with this, I can see that being a really good use for MR Mont here. Porcelain Tower floor 86 is going to be water. Now this floor is a little scary to me. There are some gimmicks to it. You would think with the amount of power lightning has gotten, this floor wouldn't be as terrifying. The things you're going to want to watch out for is the gunners over here, and then Miranda over here. And there's a couple of reasons for that. You will benefit from bringing Nivlu and Frederica, or potentially Cloud with Sub Ranger. Anything that you can have with lightning and ranged. Lightning herself would probably be really good too. But what's the problem with Miranda is that she has an increased chance to apply sleep by 50. She can be silenced if you can make a silence strategy work. But you have this ability right here, which is range height 2, AoE height 1, giant ass diamond will just sleep your entire team. So you need to either kill Miranda right here before she sleeps your entire team, or you need to get away from her first by like moving up onto range 7 and range 6, because she will only be able to hit the range height 6 people potentially on the first turn, and then you need to deal with her in some way from there. Now, the problem for running away from Miranda that you're going to have is that E7 and E8 are over here, who are gunners. Now, the gunners have an enhanced chance to land disable and confusion by 25 for disable, and confusion by 15. So you're gonna want to just put blanket confusion resistance on your party. That's just going to be like, that'll be able to solve your confusion situation. And you're going to maybe, if you can, fit disable resistance, but just having confusion resistance and either prioritizing them to kill them or having some other strategy is going to be important for dealing with those gunners. There are going to be 4 of them. You do have increased chance to apply paralyze and poison on the rats, which I don't think is a big deal. And you do have some other units like Ildira and Farm. Again, Ildira is going to be a threat. She's going to be E3, so she's up here. I wouldn't worry about Ildira right away, but you will either want to silence her because she is susceptible, or you will want to kill her because she in particular has AoE disable with range height 5, AoE height 1. So you do want to keep that in mind because she has disable proc plus 25 on her ability. It is a lower percentage chance to land disable, but it could be absolutely devastating if she comes in and you're all here on the range height 4 or something close together, and she just manages to disable like 3 or 4 of your units. So in order of priority for this floor, Miranda, and then kind of work on the gunners, and then definitely Ildira as she does approach. One unit to consider here for this floor is going to be Orlandu. Now, I haven't considered many units specifically for floors, but when I was looking at like who would be really good, Moore would be really good for her LB silence if you wanted to handle potentially Miranda on turn 1. Orlandu also has silence in his secondary kit, so if you do go down to his secondary kit here, he does have a really nice range height 2, AoE height 1 chance to silence, and he does have increased movement speed that you can set as well, or increased jump, which will help him. So something to consider if you are looking at what units might be viable here. Porcelain floor tower floor 87. Now this is going to be an easier floor. I feel like all fire floors are relatively easy. You're going to be wanting to set a water composition. Water pierce, water slash is going to be great. The big thing you're going to want here is berserk resistance. Of course, you're going to want to prioritize the ninjas as well. I feel like I'm saying prioritize ninjas a ton. They're going to be E9 and E10, which is going to be kind of over here in the back. So if you just wanted to keep your units here and kind of almost bait the units towards you, you will notice units are reasonably weak to magic on this floor. However, the enemies are going to be able to have reflect on them. So first priority is going to be setting berserk resistance here. Second priority is having some type of ranged attack as well as physical attacks. Just don't risk the reflect. Just come in and just plan on taking the enemies out slowly and surely. One thing to note with the ninjas, if you do end up staying in your camp here, if you stay in this square right here with the range height 4 and then the range height 5 right here, you'll notice that there's like a little step ladder here to come up. Shadowbind will only work on the character who's right here. So as long as you have this blocked off right here, as long as you have your character's position here and you have them right here, the ninjas don't have enough jump to jump up. And so you can force them up this corridor, and you can force the other units up the corridor that don't have access to ranged height attacks. So this is going to be a map that really rewards playing defensive. So you're going to want to bring some type of a water healer, some type of a support formation with access to good ranged attack. Floor 88, very interesting, especially if you consider the deployment and you look at it. You can position a unit further up. If you do, you may want to consider that. So that's going to be E8 and E9 up here. So if we hop down and we look at who E8 and E9 is, that is going to be some ranged units. So they are weak to striking and slash. They also have the capability to berserk your team. So you may, particularly if you have like GL Cezanne, you may want to put him right here just to run forward and kill these two right away. That's going to really potentially lessen the blow that you're going to have to worry about. If you do want to go even further, there is a Kotodama right here at E7. If you do have an attack that can target here and has range height 1 that can hit all 3 of them and kill them with whatever character is in this position, that would give you a very powerful opening. You would have to initial deployment, but that could absolutely be worth it. There aren't too many status ailments that you have to worry about on this floor. This floor is going to be designed for the HQ Glaciella that came out, so Wind Pierce is going to be really powerful here. You can also find Wind Striking to be really good, and Wind Slashing. So of course, if you have 2B, you're going to want to run her in here. And of course, any combination of Pierce as well will be good. I don't think any of them are weak to Wind Missile or Wind Magic, which is surprising since you can consider Sodali came out. We have the tanks are weak to magic, it looks like. So maybe you just throw Sodali in there, or Little Leela to deal with the tanks when they come forward. Taking a look at floor 89. So this is going to be the floor with a large flat center. And this is going to be mostly lightning element units. So you are going to want to bring your earth composition, and there's a lot to consider here. You are going to have Charlotte, who's going to be at E1, kind of leading the charge. Charlotte, not that scary. The one thing you need to consider with Charlotte, though, is that she does have an increased chance to land stun, and her stun blade is relatively large, so she is going to deal some pretty good damage here. You are going to notice they're weak to Earth Pierce and Earth Striking for Charlotte. Going to be a really good choice. Earth Magic is also going to be really effective. You're going to have Shoot Cell up front, so you can kind of maybe potentially put in Kilfei with her new 120, or have them bait forward and deal some damage. Shoot Cell, you will want to consider just in terms of damage. He has a chance to increase apply stop as well. So his stop is going to be range height 1, AoE height 1, and have relatively good range. He does have also access to Doom, and I know NPCs love to Doom you just for no reason. Nivlu, I'm not too worried about because she doesn't have a ton of status effects. You can expect your defense to get lowered, but Nivlu is never a character that I've been absolutely terrified of whenever I go up against her here. You have a couple tanks. The tanks, of course, don't have anything enhanced, which is really nice. So you don't have to worry about like an 80% stun rate like you do from Charlotte. You have a gunner that has enhanced disable. Now, in terms of gunners, you have 2 of them, so that's going to be at E7 and E8. So if you can find a way to kill them, that would be a good priority. You may be stuck taking a hit. You may want to plan having a character with native hate or with a hate buffing tank ability to draw their fire, because you can't really position your units in order to one-shot them because your units are kind of far away. So no matter what, they're going to get a shot off, which means you're potentially going to end up with 1 unit disabled or 2. So any unit that you can bring that has like natural hate or potentially a tank ability may be really good just to draw those shots. So you'll probably draw those shots, kill the gunners, and then kind of push through. I would also say don't underestimate Charlotte. It would be another good reason why having a tank would be really good here, because you can draw Charlotte Stunblade, you can draw Disable. It's just going to be one of those things where you're going to get kind of mauled to death here, and you're just going to have to deal with it. This is of course a map that's designed for that Earth Striker unit that came out that nobody has. You may want to consider bringing Mont, since he does have some striking, or he has a striking ability, but this is going to be a pretty rough area, I think, for a lot of players. Porcelain Tower floor 90. Now, this is not as nightmarish, I would say, as most of the floor 90s. It's going to be wind and fire. Of course, that's going to be problematic because you could bring ice to counter wind, but then fire is going to crush ice. On the other hand, though, you could bring water-based units who aren't countered by wind. So you'll have an advantage against the fire units, and then you can chain down the wind units. So I will probably approach this map with a water unit team first, followed by potentially an ice team afterwards, just to deal with the fire units first, and then to take out the wind units. Tetrasulfide is actually not that terrifying compared to like Siren on other floors, where you have to worry about like room-wide sleep and crazy status ailments. We've ended up with Brachiosaur and Tetrasulfide, and honestly, neither of them are that scary here. Sodily is probably going to be the first scary thing that you're going to have to encounter and think about, but he's going to be way off to the side here. So you could almost come down here and just sweep this group of enemies down here, Brachiosaur and some of the other units, and then just kind of move up and take them down that way. Alternatively, if you do have ice archer units, you can, since Dark Tetrasulfide doesn't have any missile resistance, you could have Eliza and Elia take down Dark Tetrasulfide. I would potentially be opposed to that. I would rather probably target Sodily if you can, since he'll be in range. But at the same time, I think bringing ice units when there's fire units on the field would potentially be a bad idea. So I'm going to try and stick to my water composition here. Sodily, of course, has Charm and Confusion, which are both dangerous things to deal with. He doesn't have enhanced application rates, but you do want to think about that. We also have Sweetheart Ildzira, but Sweetheart Ildzira does not have enhanced application rates for debuffs either, interestingly enough. So you're only going to really have to worry about Blind. You're going to have to worry potentially about Immobilize, but really you're not going to have to worry too much. You're going to have a Healing Monk, you're going to have a Strider, you're going to have Sorel here. Sorel doesn't even have any significant debuffs that you should be scared of. So it's a very unique map in that, you know, I feel like most floor 90s are like debuff central that you have to worry about. You really don't have to worry about much here. You do have a couple of Trick Lancers that have enhanced Immobilize, but again, like, Immobilize is not the end of the world. The only status ailment that I would really be scared of is the Ahriman and the Lamia. And of course, Lamia has chance to Charm and Confuse, so I would just focus on taking them out first, and I think the rest will naturally progress. You can also, it should be pointed out here, Charm the Lamia if you wanted. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys found this guide helpful and useful, and I will catch all of you guys later.